I woke up to a throbbing headache, the kind that makes you question the very existence of light. My eyes fluttered open, and I found myself lying on a cold, hard floor. The air was heavy with a musty odor, a mixture of decay and dampness that clung to the back of my throat. Panic set in immediately as I realized I had no recollection of how I ended up in this place. I sat up quickly, my heart pounding in my chest. The room around me was completely empty, the walls bare and lifeless. The windows were boarded up tightly, allowing no glimpse of the outside world. My breath quickened, and I fought the rising tide of hysteria that threatened to overtake me. "Where am I?" I whispered to myself, my voice trembling. I stumbled to my feet, feeling a wave of dizziness wash over me. I needed to find a way out. I needed to understand what was happening. The silence in the house was oppressive, broken only by the distant sound of something scraping against metal. Like dry ice on metal, it was a high-pitched, squealing noise that set my teeth on edge. I moved through the house cautiously, each creak of the floorboards under my feet amplifying my anxiety. The rooms I passed through were all the same, empty, devoid of any sign of life or reason. My mind raced with questions. Who brought me here? Why was I here? And most importantly, how could I get out? The sound of the squealing grew louder as I ventured deeper into the house. It was an unsettling, metallic noise that seemed to echo through the hallways. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, but it filled me with a sense of dread. I finally reached a door that looked different from the others. My heart sank as I opened it, revealing a room that made my blood run cold. People were strewn across the floor, torn to shreds in a grotesque display of violence. The walls were splattered with blood, and in the center of the carnage, written in large, jagged letters, was a message that stopped me dead. Avoid room 3. I recoiled, my stomach churning with fear and revulsion. What kind of place was this? What had happened to these people? As night fell, as far as I can tell from the subtle shift in light to dark, the house became even more oppressive. The squealing noise grew more intense, reverberating through the halls. I found a closet to hide in, hoping to gather my thoughts and formulate a plan. Through a small crack in the door, I watched as something horrifying passed by. It was a creature, towering at least 8 feet tall, its naked body covered in patches of soiled hair. The stench it emanated was unbearable, a sickening mix of rot and filth. Its face was a nightmarish mask, ancient and lifeless, with eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. Its mouth was filled with rotten teeth, each cavity like a black hole of decay. I held my breath, fighting the urge to scream as the creature moved past the closet. My heart pounded in my ears, and I prayed it wouldn't notice me. After what felt like an eternity, it continued down the hallway, the squealing noise fading with it. When I finally felt safe enough to emerge, I knew I had to find a way out. My search led me to another part of the house, where I felt I was being watched. I turned around, and there she was, another woman. She was younger, with wide, terrified eyes. She looked at me with a mixture of hope and desperation. "Please," she begged, "help me. I don't know what to do." She was holding a small letter opener as a weapon. She was too scared to fight me, but too scared to flee. She had no choice but to need my help. Maybe it's because I was older. She simply trusted me. Or maybe it's because I've been here for a little longer than her. Ultimately, doesn't matter. I hesitated, the words "avoid room 3" flashing in my mind. But then a thought struck me. Maybe I could use this to my advantage. A desperate plan formed in my mind. "Room 3 is the safest place," I lied, my voice barely steady. "We need to go there to avoid the creature." "Room 3, I said, my voice trembling. "Room 3 is the safest place. You need to hide there." She looked at me with wide, trusting eyes. "Are you sure?" "Yes," I nodded, the lie feeling like a physical weight in my chest. "We need to hurry." The sound of the screecher grew louder, closer. The younger woman, panic-stricken, bolted towards room 3. I followed, my heart pounding with a mix of guilt and determination. As we reached the door, she pushed it open and ran inside. I hesitated for a split second, then saw my chance. I entered room 3, running to the other side to the exit door, but not before catching a glimpse to the side of my eye, the Screecher tearing the young woman apart, her screams echoing down the hallway. "You lied to me," she screamed, her voice a mix of agony and betrayal. "You lied to me," she cried out again before I slammed the door shut behind me. Last I heard was a final death howl and then nothing. Once the adrenaline began to abate, I looked up and I was in another room. This one was even worse. The sounds of screeches were louder, the bodies more numerous, and on the wall, written in blood, were the words, "Fooled you, the Screecher!"